You know what's strange? The people who hurt us the most are often the ones we hold on to the longest. It doesn't make sense on paper. It doesn't match logic or self-respect, but the heart doesn't run on logic. The heart runs on memory, on hope, on longing, on the quiet places inside us that no one sees. And that's why letting go of the person who broke you feels like trying to walk away from a version of yourself that doesn't exist anymore. I remember a time in my own life when I thought I was finally strong enough to let someone go. I convinced myself I was done. I told my friends I had moved on. I spoke like someone who was healing. But the truth was, I was still waking up with their name in my chest, still replaying the same moments, still holding the same invisible pieces of them, like they were glued to my hands. And I kept wondering, why am I unable to release someone who didn't choose me, who didn't protect me, who didn't stay? And it took me years to understand the real reason. When someone hurts you deeply, they don't just break your heart, they break your pattern, everything you believed about yourself, everything you thought you deserved, everything you thought love was supposed to feel like. It all gets cracked in one sudden moment, but the mind hates unfinished stories. The heart hates unanswered questions. So instead of letting go, you hold tighter, hoping that one day the pain will make sense, hoping that someday the person who hurt you will look back and realize what they threw away. You don't stay because they treated you well. You stay because you wanted the story to end differently. You wanted it to be fixed. You wanted them to wake up, to apologize, to grow, to finally choose you in the way you chose them. And walking away feels like accepting that the version of the relationship you prayed for will never happen, and that hurts more than the breakup itself. Sometimes we hold on because the pain feels familiar, because chaos becomes a type of comfort, because your nervous system got trained to survive on mixed signals, and now silence feels painful, now peace feels empty, now healthy love feels foreign, and even though the relationship was hurting you, losing it feels like losing a part of your emotional identity. You don't miss them, not really. You miss the moments where you felt seen. You miss the way you imagined they could love you. You miss the high, even if the high only lasted a few minutes, even if it came with long nights of confusion and doubt. Because the truth is, the people who hurt you the most are usually the ones you built the biggest dreams around, and letting go of them means letting go of the future you created in your head. But here's something most people never understand. The wound is not what you're attached to. You're attached to the hope that the wound will finally close. You're attached to the fantasy that the person who caused the pain will someday become the cure, but they won't. They can't. And deep down you know that. Yet your heart keeps bargaining. Maybe if I had been better, maybe if I had given more, maybe if I loved harder, they would have stayed. And that self-blame becomes the chain that holds you to someone who already left. You keep remembering the moments they were kind, the days they held you, the nights they made you feel important, but you forget everything that came after. The distance, the excuses, the coldness, the empty promises, the way they broke you in small, quiet ways, and the mind tricks you. It highlights the memories that hurt the least and hides the ones that hurt the most. And that's why you feel stuck, because your heart is grieving the fantasy, not the reality. Letting go becomes the hardest when your worth got tied to their approval, when you needed them to validate your value, when you needed their love to prove you were enough. And now that they're gone, it feels like your worth left with them, but it didn't. It's still here, underneath all the layers of pain and confusion, waiting for you to come back to yourself. The person who hurt you the most feels impossible to release because your heart wasn't just losing them. It was losing the version of you that felt alive with them. The version of you that once believed in love. The version of you that trusted, that hoped, that dreamed. And it is terrifying to rebuild yourself from ash, but you can, and you will. Because that version of you wasn't destroyed. It was just forced to evolve. Healing begins the moment you stop asking why they didn't stay and start asking why you kept giving your heart to someone who didn't know how to hold it. Healing begins when you stop trying to rewrite the past and start learning to protect your future. Healing begins when you realize that their leaving wasn't your breaking point. It was your turning point. One day, you're going to look back at the person you couldn't let go of, and you're going to see them clearly, without the emotion, without the history, without the attachment, and you'll wonder why you ever begged to keep a love that was slowly dimming your light. You'll wonder why you kept choosing someone who couldn't choose you. And that moment of clarity is when freedom begins. Right now, it feels like your heart is tearing itself apart. It feels like the memories are louder at night. It feels like the silence is heavier than the heartbreak. But the truth is, you're not breaking. You're becoming. You're stepping into the version of yourself that finally understands what you deserve. You're learning that love isn't supposed to hurt this much. Love isn't supposed to confuse you. Love isn't supposed to make you doubt your worth. Love is supposed to stay. Love is supposed to show up. Love is supposed to choose you without hesitation. And the moment you fully accept that, the grip they have on your heart will loosen. The attachment will fade. The longing will grow quieter. And the love you once begged for will no longer feel like something you need. You'll move forward. You'll heal. You'll grow into someone stronger, softer, wiser. And one day, you'll meet a love that doesn't make you question yourself, a love that doesn't leave scars, a love that feels safe to hold. And when that day comes, you'll finally understand the person who hurt you the most wasn't the hardest to let go because they were special, but because you had to lose them to find yourself again. And if you and I are anything alike, then you already know this journey isn't easy. But you also know deep down, you're going to make it through. And if you want to keep walking this path with me, you know where to find me. Just subscribe.